Are they as good as it's made out to be by the press, by the fans, by the general assessment of football fans this season? Liverpool,
no, I don't think they're good enough. I think I looked at Milner. I think Van Dijk is a hell of a player for them. If second half, he made the difference for me in the way that they played. He sort of kind of got hold of his back four and they seem to have sorted out the situation with Hazard. Funny enough, Hazard seemed to tire as the second half went on. But I think without Van Dijk in there, they're going to have a problem. I think the front, Chelsea have shown how to keep the front three quiet by making them having to defend. They've done a lot of running back to their own goal. The clearer chances fell to Chelsea, and they didn't make them count. You know, if you look at both goalkeepers, I think the Liverpool goalkeepers made 4 really good saves in the game, whereas Chelsea goalkeepers only had to make 1 in the game.
My top 4 in the Premier League this season before a ball was kicked with the squad strength, depth, was Manchester City to retain the title on a reduced gap to Liverpool finishing second, Manchester United third, and had Spurs fourth. At the moment, if you're looking at perhaps form, you're probably saying you'd bump Chelsea up into that top 4 quite comfortably, maybe even third. Real progression under Sarri, and you can see the players are buying into what he's trying to do. I do think Liverpool will challenge, but when we're talking about a challenge, last season was pretty much a cakewalk for Manchester City. You know, it was 25 points, 35 points between Manchester City and 4th, 5th. I think that Liverpool could well get within 4 to 8 points of Manchester City, but I think that Manchester City have the best squad, and over the course of the season, when you get that first part of the season out of the way, then you get to January and it becomes a grind. Manchester City have more players and more quality players to come in and make an impact than any other team in the country.
Completely understand that, and I think that's an assessment of many fans. It's just, it feels to me like you're hinting that perhaps Liverpool overrated.
Having watched them today, I think they've been exposed by Chelsea. I think they've exposed their vulnerability. I think they've exposed their limitations. In the middle of the park, they don't have a passer of the ball who's going to open anything up. They've got a lot of workman-like midfield players. That is not going to be good enough to take the title away from City.
I completely agree with that. I think that a number... I have lots of conversations, particularly on social media during the week, about what, you know, when things have calmed down a little bit. What did you make of the performance? What do you think? And Liverpool fans traditionally, like, well, it doesn't matter. We've got 3 amazing forwards that are always going to score goals. So the deficiencies elsewhere. Traditionally, of course, it was the defensive deficiencies, which with the goalkeeper, the central defender, Virgil van Dijk that's come in, the find that is Andy Robertson and Trent Alexander-Arnold and Joe Gomez coming into the side has been somewhat rectified. But you know, James Milner is a grafter. His statistics have been much, much better creatively. He was one of the best creators in the Champions League last season. Jordan Henderson, again, we use Flat Track Bully as an example of a player that plays exceptionally well and gets goals or assists or passes the ball against teams, inferior teams, but doesn't stand up to be counted in the biggest games. He got substituted today, and I still think that position will be Naby Keita's in the short term, the medium term. But even if you had Keita, if you have Wijnaldum, if you have Milner and Henderson, they're all pretty much along the same spectrum. Yeah. What Steven Gerrard, of course, and for a Steven Gerrard now, can pick the ball up and pick a pass, can get in the box and score a goal, can score a free kick. And I think that they are, without a doubt, missing that something in midfield.
Drive past somebody. Pick the ball up and drive past somebody. They haven't got... In the big games, what Jordan does, he just drops the balls off, just pops it off to the fullback.
Which is the easy thing to do.
Yeah, because that's easy to do.
I think that they're hoping that Naby Keita will be that player. Yeah. Remains to be seen whether he does. He can certainly pick it up in midfield and trundle past 2 or 3 players and create something. Whether he can do it for a long enough period of time in a game and create enough over the next 2 or 3 seasons remains to be seen.
But I am really impressed with Chelsea in the way that they've changed so quickly under a new manager.